And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're looking at the free agency market and just looking at the question around the Washington Commanders and just really, are they looking to make some more moves? Could the Washington Commanders maybe add another player here before the NFL draft? And so we'll be talking about that. So before we go ahead and jump into the content for today, I first wanted to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting our wide receivers for many touchdowns this upcoming season. I'm predicting that. So in exchange for that subscribe button, we're going to deliver nothing but Washington Commanders content on a day-to-day basis. And so please go ahead and join the Washington Commanders insider family here so we can be talking nothing but Washington Commanders here on a day-to-day basis. And so let's go ahead and jump into the content for today. And so just really answering the question right now that are the Washington Commanders finished as far as free agency? Is there more moves that maybe the Washington Commanders are going to make here? And so personally, I think that the Washington Commanders are done really making more moves in free agency. I think that it's a possibility, but I do think that it is something that's probably unlikely. I just don't think that there's really something that the Washington Commanders would really jump on. But there are two players that I think still interest me for this team. I think that they would fit a need. One player I think certainly you would get maybe a longer timeline with. I think that, this other player certainly would be a player that I think is going to maybe fit in, but it would be a short timeline, but I think could definitely impact the Washington Commanders. And so one defensive player and then one offensive player. And so the first player that I think could really be an impact for the Washington Commanders, and I think it would certainly be a short-term deal, it would be Keenan Allen. I think that Keenan Allen is a player that I think as of right now, this current recording, he's still available. And look, I know he's 32, he's 12 years in, but man, I would just think that Keenan Allen, you pair that with Deebo Samuel, you pair that with Terry McLaurin. And I know that, look, Keenan Allen is not going to just run past defenders and things like that, but man, he brings a ton of experience to your wide receiver room. And here's a guy that he's probably seen a lot of defenses out there. I would say that there's probably not too many defenses that he has not, faced. But I think that one of the things that Keenan Allen has is just that, man, he is a quarterback-friendly receiver. I think that he just understands how to get open. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that he had some quarterback experience when he was in college, if I'm not mistaken. But look, this is a guy that I think he could certainly help the Washington Commanders on the offensive side of the ball. I think that, man, he would help us be a guy that could maybe move the chains. You could definitely depend on him on those third down situations. Certainly if we're going for it on fourth down, which Dan Quinn has certainly shown that he will gamble. And so I would like going to Keenan Allen in those situations. And I think that, man, he still has maybe plenty enough in the tank here, at least for another year or two. I think he could play some good football for us. And so I think that, this would be probably a signing where you're not going to have to pay, I think, a ton. And I think that there's just the upside here. And that's something that you guys hear me say often on this channel. I think that Adam Peters does a great job in bringing in players that, man, there's some real upside. And most of these players really hit that upside just because of the winning culture that we have here with the Washington Commanders. I think that that really means a lot. And I think that that really helps everybody kind of get to the next level here. And so next up, the next player that I would love the Washington Commanders to take a chance on. And I know not a lot of people are really, too high on him based off the fact that I think he struggles maybe in run coverage or run support, I should say. And that's going to be Asante Samuel Jr. Look, I think that there is plenty left with him. I think that, man, he's flashed enough for me as far as just being a player that can certainly get the turnover that you need. I think that you don't have to worry about him necessarily in coverage. And I mean, he's young enough, man, right now where I'm saying I might want to take a chance with him. I mean, at 5'10", 180, I know he's not the biggest corner out there, but again, he's a 25. And I think he's just got a ton of football left here. And I just like the fact that, look, he went for the hat trick, I think, for the Los Angeles Chargers in their last playoff appearance, or not their last playoff appearances, but before that, when they got upset there by the Jacksonville Jaguars, where they were able to come back. But there were a ton of things that he did well. And I just think that, look, you put him into this secondary, and if he does really pan out, I think perhaps you get a player that is going to be around at least maybe for another, 3, 4, maybe 5 seasons, depending on what happens, with the injuries and things like that. And so I know he's coming off the injured shoulder. I'm not sure what the status is, but again, I'm not, necessarily too concerned with that. I think he can work his way back. And when you look at the interceptions, look, his first year he had 2, his next year he had 2, the next year after that he had 2, this last year he didn't have any. And I think that is really just comes down to him being injured. And so I think that if you get him on the field and he's healthy, look, I think he's a guy that certainly can help our secondary. Is he a guy that I'm going to say is going to, maybe just be an MVP back there? No, but I do think that he does help us as far as really making it tougher on opposing quarterbacks to throw on us and things like that. And we know that if you can make a team one-dimensional, you can certainly put yourself in a position to win some football games. And then also, too, just looking at just the free agents left here on this list, I mean, you still do have, I think, Amari Cooper. He's still a possible player that's out there. I definitely don't think that we would be in the market for a Tyler Lockett. I just don't think he would be necessarily a good fit. But maybe, Matt Judon. I think that maybe he's a player that maybe the Washington Commanders could take a look at. I know he's playing the outside linebacker position. And I think that this is more something that probably I think the Washington Commanders are probably going to look to really maybe upgrade a little bit more defensively in the draft. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I'm just saying he's out there. Also, too, Preston Smith, as I'm looking at this list right now, he's out there. That is a guy that we once had with us as well. And so, those are a couple of players that maybe the Washington Commanders could pick up here in free agency as we get ready to trend towards this NFL draft. Let me know what you guys are thinking here. Do you believe that maybe, yes, the Washington Commanders would go after a guy like Keenan Allen? Because keep in mind, look, even in a down season, I guess you could say that, he had 70 receptions, 744 yards, 7 touchdowns, averaged 10.6 an average catch there. I mean, that was probably his lowest campaign there since his first or his third season in the league. And so you're looking at a guy that, man, he gets a lot of receptions, generally had 108 receptions with the Chargers. I could just only imagine the kind of synergy he would have with Jaden Daniels. And then also, too, let me know what you guys are thinking about Asante Samuel Jr. I think that he could be a player that maybe he's a plug-and-play player in that secondary for us that maybe the Washington Commanders could take. And so anyhow, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man. And, dude, as we always say around here, man, go Commanders. We'll be talking more about the Washington Commanders and what they possibly are going to do. Super excited to talk about just this NFL draft, man, and seeing which way the Washington Commanders are going to go. I mean, in this first round, they can go offense, they can go defense, but either way, I see that this Washington Commanders team is going to improve a lot during the draft. And so let me know what your thoughts are. Go Commanders. We'll see you on the next one. All right. Peace.